Good afternoon. Welcome to the Finance and Labor Relations Subcommittee meeting, which I now call to order. I know that Councilor Beatty has provided his regrets to this meeting. I'll begin with a land acknowledgement, followed by a moment of silent reflection, then a respectful conduct statement. We acknowledge that Stratford is positioned on the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and the neutral Attawagan peoples. As you gather, we are reminded that the city of Stratford is situated on treaty land that is steeped in rich Indigenous history and home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples today. We acknowledge that Stratford is situated on land that was shared between the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and the neutral Attawagan peoples. We are grateful to have the opportunity to live, work, and play on this land. Thank you. The Corporation of the City of Stratford is committed to providing quality service to all members of the public, council, and our employees. Our goal is to promote the safe, healthy, respectful, inclusive, and positive environment. We have a responsibility to treat people with respect by creating safe and respectful spaces. It is the city's expectation that all present will be respectful. Item 2 is disclosures of pecuniary interest. Are there any to be made? No. Item 3 is delegations. There are none scheduled. Item 4 is the report of the Director of Corporate Services. And 4.1 is the Destination Stratford update. And Mr. Gribble is here to provide it. Okay.
Thank you very much. It's been a little while since I've had an opportunity to present to the subcommittee. And let's see here.
Which I will make it full screen. Okay.
There we go. So it's a pleasure to be here, and I'm going to give a quick overview from mostly from a finance perspective, but also give a bit of an update of 2026 year to date, since it's been a while since I've been able to provide an update. So I did provide some what do we call it, an adjusted budget. I will try my very best to work with our board to make variances so we don't change them. But historically, we would do 2 or 3 adjusted budgets. Some of that is based on MAT revenue and what we expect to come. We try to do as accurate as possible. But there has been some shifts that are still up. So I've included all that in the finance package that we would have received, and it's up on screen here. And I'm happy to talk through any of those items, other than to say that everything is on track in terms of where we should be at this time of year. I will mention about a few things to talk through here. The audited financial statements from Banco have just come in and been reviewed by the board. So I will be providing those at a future date after our AGM, and then also our reports to the board. But in short, Destination Stratford has a small surplus. Lights on Stratford as a project within Destination Stratford, separate books, has a small deficit. The net effect is a small surplus. So that's basically how 2025 played out. So we were on budget for that year. MATP1, it's not reflected in the financials there because we've received it, and I think I submitted this 3 or 4 weeks ago, and subsequent to that, we have received MAT, which is coming in on a quarterly basis, which is fantastic. And so far, I believe that there's a slight increase if we compare quarter to quarter over last year. It is a bit marginal, but we did have quite a tough January for those that remember. There was a frost again on Wednesday. I'm sorry to be a joy kill in the 35-degree weather today. The summer staff grants, I always tell you when we're successful with any grant applications. So we have around $15,000 of grants between the province and federal summer staff programs. In addition, we were successful with a $55,000 grant for Lights on Stratford, which was the maximum allowable for the Experience Ontario program. So far this year, those are the grants. We continue to work closely with RTO4, who will be partnering on a variety of projects this year. And as we get further into the year, I'll update this group in terms of what that is. Metrolinx Go Train, I know there's been a lot of celebration around that, and it was a real joy to be at that announcement. The fact that it's year-round and permanent, and that was said out loud was fantastic. I did want to stress how important this is for tourism, what an opportunity is. The weekend timetable in particular is the schedule is great for tourism. It works for theater, it works for lunch, it works for retail, it works for overnights. One of the concerns in the theater season is it's very difficult to find accommodations for one night. Usually it's a 2-night minimum. So if someone's coming on a Saturday train expecting to go back on Sunday, so we're identifying certain accommodators that will agree to provide one-night stays and to promote that. But it's hard to find. Moving into the shoulder winter seasons, that will open up, and we'll work with our accommodators to make sure that works. We are working really closely with Metrolinx, and I should say early conversations a few months ago were that the weekend service would be May to October. So we're really thrilled that it's year round. That's a game changer for things like Lights on Stratford and shoulder season programming. I did recently confirm with Metrolinx the number of cars because it's one thing, but one car coming in that's a limited kind of capacity. But I'm happy to report that the weekday I'm told is 10 to 12 cars, and the weekend is 6 cars. 6 cars at full capacity is just around 100,000. So it is really substantial, and so we're partnering with Metrolinx and doing a lot of integrated marketing. We're also trying to festival theater to come, so all of us can collaborate together. So I just wanted to let everyone know that we see this as a huge game changer for both day visits and overnights. The weekday service is actually fantastic for someone to come midweek and then go home on the weekend. It's not so great for getting home. It's very early, but use in the morning during the week. But weekend, that is totally different. So it's 6:20, I believe, so at least. So just wanted to share that we are going to devote some significant resources to Metrolinx moving forward to make sure that the community is not just in downtown Toronto, but in Guelph, Georgetown, KW, etc. And we're on there. We are going to be marketing heavily. So just want to make sure everyone knew that. Because that was new and we didn't know about that at the beginning of the year. So Stratford Al Fresco has launched successfully. We've added some equipment to Queen's Park, which traditionally wasn't part of the Al Fresco portion of Destination Stratford, but we do have some tables and umbrellas up there. We continue to lift up the infrastructure and maintain them. Hopefully you've seen Kevin, who is our Al Fresco manager out and about, who really is an amazing tourism ambassador for our community. And maintains all the alfresco equipment. Our summer staff will also be in Market Square for key lunch hours, supporting the alfresco program. The alfresco program has grown. We have more people participating in the alcohol food portion of alfresco. There's more festivals approaching us for that program, even though recent provincial law changes are allowing a BYOE concept for successful applications. I think that might need some sort of bylaw review at council. But most of the festival owners want to support local businesses, and they want to work with the Alfresco program rather than having that BYOB kind of festival. So that's encouraging, and we're seeing already lots of uptake, especially in busy weekends like most recently. Stratford After Dark and Upgrade Theater is up and running. We are going to devote more resources to that this year. Again, working with Stratford Festival with lobby screen activations, materials, advertisements in the theater guide, and working with a lot of local businesses. In particular, last year's program of recording video and media to support After Dark is going to continue this year, so we can build more media resources. There's a lot of really great experiences, but not a lot of them have good storytelling media available. And so by investing in that, we're sharing those assets with those businesses, but we're also using those environment media methods. Influencers are also very much encouraged to go experience Stratford After Dark, which is a fabulous way to tell that story. So that program is growing. Destination Development Fund, hopefully you saw the press release, and we had just under $1 million of actual project spends. We don't have any indirect funds to support, but it was massively oversubscribed. And I can't remember, it was 13 or 14 projects that we've selected. Again, not seeing collaboration of downtown Stratford, BIA, our tier 4. We all contribute to that, and Destination Stratford is the majority contributor, and we oversee that program. So that's been very successful. Some of the projects have already started, but there's a lot more happening later this year right into the winter. Music pop-up program, we'll be making announcements this week. Similarly, massively oversubscribed in terms of the demand. I'm quite proud of that. If we go back 3 years ago, when we first started that initiative, we were undersubscribed in terms of, and there were less venues hosting live music. And so that seems to be a sort of a burgeoning thing. I think timing was part of it, but I think this program was also successful from a grassroots kind of perspective in helping promote the culture of live music in Stratford at a wide variety of venues. So we'll be announcing later this week, I believe, 17 venues that are receiving funding this year through the music pop-up program. That's for summer and fall. And then in September, we'll be launching one specifically to winter and spring. Okay, Stratford Public Warrior Program. You all should have a book. Destination Stratford is now unofficially in the book business. We're registered. We can issue ISBNs. It's at the National Library, which is a requirement for published community books. It's in all of our Brooke County Information Network libraries. To date, last time I think we've sold 109 copies. The Fanford Books is selling these. It represents 85 poems with 75 poets within Brooke Counties and Stratford. We had our award ceremony with our poet laureate, David Stones, and the previous youth poet laureate and the current youth poet laureate to a sold out audience here in the auditorium a couple weeks ago. So really, really thrilled with that program. And there'll be several events where we'll be presenting formally and creating new work, including in partnership with the city this year. Okay. I did want to include this in the package. I won't spend a lot of time going through it, but part of our commitment in our strategic plan was to have an annual work plan. So the 2026 work plan is here. This is serving as a template. And if people have questions about it, I'm always happy to help us through or go around the meeting to discuss it in more detail. But we do want to show that at the beginning of the year and demonstrate what portion is going towards destination development type projects, what portion is going towards destination marketing, and how much is the cost of people and so on operational influence as a snapshot. So that was the intention here. This will be part of our year review document posted publicly every year moving forward. So I didn't want to share it in advance in case there were questions. Okay, and just before I get to this, I did promise the marketing team that I would deliver a couple of updates, some marketing highlights so far this year. You could say that we looked at the crystal ball and got lucky, but we decided to have a partnership with Sportsnet, and we did a 30-second video highlighting Stratford. That was broadcast during the Olympics and happened to be during the World Delegate, which had unbelievable membership. So we paid a flat rate and got something like 1,000 units of value for that particular video ad, which was incredible. We partnered with City of Stratford, Community Services to create a strategic local and regional campaign to promote Doors Open. It's been 10 years since the last Doors Open was supposed to be here. We were the first one in Ontario to kick off. And I believe we have an average of 700 to 800 attendees at the locations per day for that weekend, which is considered very high. So I know that there are conversations now with Community Services to repeat that for next year and to see how that goes. With an aim to have about a 50% turnover in different venues, there's a lot of really amazing heritage spaces here that Community Doors Open. Okay. We have a full year advertising spot with city facilities screens. And really this is about visiting groups and small cities and how to have a better connection with our offering downtown at our sports venues owned by the city. We have similar vein, 6 customized itineraries for the group travel market, including youth, sports groups, families, etc. We have those printed, we have those distributed, and we push those online and we market those as well. So it's really important to have itineraries so that people understand what's available in the city, especially if they're landing at the edges of the city or the periphery They don't all know what they can do, and this really spells out the experience. There's a whole bunch of prominent advertising, Promstar, Mail, Young Dundas, Digital Screens, Stratford Festival Guide, various other guides. There's been 7 influencer campaigns so far this year, and we've launched the Saver and Sip Trail for the 4th year, and there's over 35 businesses, which is a new record for Saver and Sip. Okay, I promise this is my last slide, and I know that there might be a chance for you to get there before your next meeting, so I did want to just reiterate, if you haven't seen, we've launched our theme for Lights on Stratford this winter. It's Canada and Northern Lights. And this is the very first year that we will only be featuring Canadian artists. So we have a national call of artists, and last time I checked, I think there was around 30 submissions. So it's been very, very strong. So coast to coast, we're going to represent Canada and have that theme here in the city. There's also local call artists that promote Stratford artists and help what out the creativity of our local community when it comes to light arts. So there's a lot of exciting announcements that will be coming soon. The call to artists ends at the end of this month, and then we'll be making announcements probably in June when we have those contracts here and all the logistics figured out. But this has really resonated with both the local community artists from across the country. And I do suspect that this will be a very big theme for uncorking some additional grant resources to help promote Canadian arts. We're having a Canadian Pride moment in world history, and we feel like this is really well timed to be synchronous with that. So with that, I believe that's the end of my slide presentation, but I'd be happy to answer questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Councilor Burbank.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, a few questions, which I totally understand if you don't have answers for, but this thing that popped into my head as you were going through the bulleted list.
Yes.
Somebody asked me today, in reference to the GO train, about parking at the train station and the possibility of, are we gonna fill out? And I don't know if anybody's had that conversation yet, and I know we do the parking study, so that's here. Just throwing that out there, maybe this is gonna be a concern.
I hope so, because that means that we're having a lot of people come and visit and using it. I think that those kind of capacity issues are going to happen, and I think in particular for the the idea of weekend service is that people will bring their car. So, but for daily commuters, north from going from Stratford or elsewhere, I live a walk from there, and I can expect that that's going to be an issue. I will remind this group that for several years now, we've been trying to bring a micro-mobility program to Stratford. We are waiting on bylaw, which has to happen first. But that is something that Destination Stratford is prepared to lead that pilot program. I would suggest that given this new development of Metro Links and GO Train, that be a primary location of where East Cooper's new lights might be located. It's complicated, and the bylaw process, there's other priorities, so it hasn't made it to the top of that list. But I think with this addition, that is a good thing to look at, which we relieve some of the parking congestion issues that might happen there if there was a cost-effective way and last mile way for visitors to get to the airport. That would be working for a big chunk.
Okay, so I have a couple. The other thing, you mentioned that Alfresco is going to be out at Upper Queens Park, is that correct? So the other day, somebody was asking about that booth there, and I may or may not know anything about that, but it seems like it's closed because it's not for the health unit. It seems like an excellent opportunity if we're going to have Alfresco to have some sort of offering there. Is there any thought of pursuing that space?
We're fans of that being active with the culinary offering. It's really not in Destination Stratford's mandate to specifically try to promote any or not. But we are in favor of that, and we certainly hear from the community that is missing in some months. Stratford Festival food operations, I see people want to go, have a lot of basket stuff. That's happens here, so that's why we're investing in the festival program.
Thanks. Yeah, maybe if, I don't know if any of us is on Parks Board. It's not. That'd be a good conversation to take up there. One more little question, and this one might be a little more, you know, on that, good fun, policy. Ad hoc group. And when I see your destination development fund and that it's way over subscribed, I'm wondering what sort of synergies there are between this program that you're already running and possibly the MAP grant program that we're considering at the ad hoc committee, if they would be similar enough to kind of do those together. Does that make sense?
I do think that there is strong synergy without too much control. So destination development fund, due to our budget, tends to be for smaller grassroots or components of a festival. And my understanding, at least thus far, from drafts that I've seen online, is the proposed MAT event funds would be for larger, more substantial. And so those two would be definitely operated in concert with one another. And perhaps I'm a big fan of sort of the 360 holistic focus, where you get some grassroots to help people get to that level. And then there's something there for when they pass a certain threshold. And we do have multiple festivals that are somewhere along the spectrum of that journey that might not be eligible for a very large fund like that, at least what I got it. So yes, I think that those can work strategically and holistically hand in hand to really try to promote the ecosystem of cultural events that is there.
Because some of the conversation we've had is that it could be small or large, depending, as long as the real driver there is to drive overnight stays. But it seems to me like we already have an application process and a, jury, whatever, like, why duplicate it again if we can kind of have, maybe it's a different stream, but then have it all under the same umbrella of this is how you apply, this is the size.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from an implementation, we've been doing this for over 10 years. It predates myself. We brought this to our team before when I was still there, and have been doing it for quite some time, quite successfully. It's always next day. So it really depends on the criteria and how difficult the criteria is to satisfy, and how many potential applicants there would be that would satisfy that criteria. We very much take a crawl, walk, run approach, and if we ignore the crawl part, then the opportunities. You don't get the opportunities for very large events without first supporting medium and small events as well. So we would adjust the destination development fund depending on what the final income bit of is. It should that MT fund come to.
Thank you. Yeah, I just throwing some ideas out there for anybody watching. It's not a commitment. It's just spitballing ideas. So thank you for your time and your answers.
Any other questions? Councilor McKay?
Through the chair, thanks for the presentations. And one thing you identified was this minimum 2-night stay issue in the destination. And hearing that quite a bit, I'm hearing it from customers and hearing it from you here. Have we identified what is the underlying issue here in regard to why we do not have enough single night occupancy opportunities in the city of Stratford? And are we in that way leaving money and opportunities on the table for that?
It's a complex question,
Yeah.
and it depends who's answering it.
Yeah.
So for those that are smaller accommodators and have to have staff to do turnovers, it can be a more expensive proposition to run their business. And quite frankly, we reach capacity, so you can get people that are here for 2, 3, 4 nights. And so less work equals more revenue and profit and time for those business owners. So I think that's driving a lot of it. We do have a lot of small accommodators across bed and breakfast and short-term accommodators. The larger hotel properties are more flexible with that. And like I said, we have been working with them to identify there's a whole new group that is coming here without a car. And we think that there's a substantial market for nights. We would like to have multiple overnights, but it will be a lot starting. And we want to make sure that we are open for business for that opportunity. So we were working individually with different accommodators to find out which of those work. But quite frankly, we have a shortage of inventory, especially at certain times of year. And if we're not careful and we don't focus on year-round development, we will also have a shortage at the quieter times of year because people aren't open. Or can't afford to have staff because none of the volume is here. So there's a lot of chicken and egg answers you're hearing from me, but I'm trying to represent some of the accommodators and what they would likely say to that answer. The larger accommodators though are open for business, whether it's single night, week-long stays, etc. And so that's probably where we're going to start with anyone who does accept single nights. And we will promote that actively in partnership with Metrolinx and others to have an opportunity.
The follow-up, just, it seems to me a very strong strategic question for the city of Stratford, whether it's a workforce development issue, the sense that we don't have enough young people available to build these entry level paying jobs and things of that nature. It would seem that we really do need to identify what that looks like, because people tend to want to just go to test a destination, as you're saying, for a one night stay and see that works for them. And understanding how that maybe can even be addressed with the map committee, I think would make a lot of sense.
I'm in agreement, and I think we should be strategic. And I can't stress enough how Metrolinx being committed to being year-round and permanent changes that equation quite a bit. So, given the markets that their customer base is, overnights, as in a single overnight, is a big part of that too.
Any other questions? No, thank you for the presentation. For all the work you do bringing people to our city as well.
Thank you for this opportunity.
There is a staff recommendation that the report titled Destination Stratford Update, the 19th, be received for information. Councilor Burbank, move that. Any discussion on that? I'll call the question. All in favor? And that's unanimous and carried. 5 is outside committee advisory or outside board minutes, and there are none. Next subcommittee meeting will be June 16th at 4:30 p.m. here in the council chamber. And last is adjournment. Mover for that. Councilor Nigel, all in favor? That's unanimous. We are adjourned. Thank you.